What a glorious day. Now, I was just thinking, like a lot of people in this world, you've had to battle some major obstacles. I know that you're a cancer survivor. Simple things, a lot of people, single mom, you've got a special needs child. These are all things that a lot of people face. For you, was there a sort of a realization that you can approach life in a positive way that will basically make a huge difference to your daily?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, Paul. Your mindset is everything, and I suppose for me, going through my difficulties and my struggles, I had to reset my mindset. It was very powerful for me to do that. Everybody has two choices in life, and if we can just work on the mindset piece, the rest will just follow that little bit better. You're right, I've been through illness, I've been through separation, my little boy's special needs, and you know, there was a point in my life where things felt so low and so difficult, but I knew that I had to believe in myself, and I had to believe in the power of the mindset and getting through things, that the better days are going to come, and that you have to keep on pushing through, you know.
And we should be clear here now. There's no crystals involved. There's no tarot card shuffling.
There's none of that.
You're not hanging upside down from trees.
We're not hanging upside down or up on the top of a mountain humming. And if that works for you, that's amazing. Of course. But for me, it was putting very practical daily habits into my life. And it was getting off that hamster wheel. I think nowadays, you know, our lifestyles are so busy as parents, as couples, single parents. It's just so busy, and we're on this hamster wheel, and we forget to stop and just reflect. How am I doing? How am I feeling? How am I coping? That when you stay on the hamster's wheel, it can just be so damaging to your mental health and your physical health.
And there is that sort of simple philosophy that, you know, you cannot predict when you get a flat tire, but you can certainly control how you cope with it. When you know, you don't need to make it feel like the end of the world has just hit you. It's a flat tire, you can change it, it'll be fine.
Absolutely. Like, I call that you control the controllables.
Right.
So I talk to my clients about, we can control the controllables, but there are things that we cannot control, and we need to accept that. So there's lots of different techniques that a life coach can help you with and support you with in being able to manage those stressful moments. You don't need to catastrophize them, you know.
And for your own kind of personal sort of realization of this, I don't know whether it was just through your own experiences, whether you turn to any kind of, you know, teaching or book or anything, just to give yourself some roadmap as to how to do this, because it's quite a big leap from having, you know, a dark period to sort of realizing I can actually help people get out of their dark period now that I feel I'm more in control.
Yeah, I definitely found that when you do need to commit to putting the work into yourself. So I would have done a lot of work on my own healing journey. Obviously, when you get sick, you really stop to reflect your life, and you stop to reflect what is working, what is not working, what changes can I make, because you're forced to. Isn't that what trauma can do? It can really force you to make changes. So I suppose what I want people to know is that don't let trauma knock on your door before you make the changes.
Right.
You know, be preventative. Take that time out for yourself. You know, see what's working in your life and what isn't working, and when it's not working, make those changes. And again, it doesn't have to be climbing a mountain or doing anything really drastic. It can be the smallest daily habits that can have a huge impact on your well-being and your mental health as well, you know.
And how was it for you, just realizing that you could actually help people? Because you know, it's a wonderful thing that you find yourself being able to, you know, hopefully make someone feel a whole lot better about their life afterwards. Was there a kind of a moment when that all came to you?
There was. Back in 2021, I finished treatment, and I decided that there was lacking. I didn't have somebody that I could turn to talk to, like, where is my life going to go now after the illness? How do I get back into the normality, even though things are never as normal? And I opened up a small little community support group on my Instagram, and I called it the Pink Room, and it just took off. Women reached out to me, and not women even who had been sick, women who'd been separated or going back to work after a baby, or struggling with mental health issues, or any little thing. And they just seemed to reach out. I connected with my audience on Instagram, and I thought, oh my goodness, there is more people out there that were struggling. And the power of talking, we know that there's scientific research, the power of reaching out and talking to somebody. So suddenly I had these strangers leaving me voice notes and messages, and I was doing some mentoring and helping them and talking to them and offering that positive psychology. And I decided then, after a couple of years, I really want to study this. There's something in this. People need to be able to connect with people who've been through tough times, and they need support and some strategies in how to make small changes or big changes and get through it.
And of course, this generation face something that their parents and their grandparents never faced. It's just that sort of sense of self, especially with social media, where you're pretty much your own PR if you want to be. You're just a constant unreality about what's going on in your life, because a lot of people just spend time online more than with actual people. That's obviously a new layer too for people to have to sort of deal with how centered they are as a person, and how much they may rely on a certain amount of projection that isn't healthy.
Yeah, and Paul, it's funny, I'm working with clients at the moment where that's exactly it, that they're on the hamster wheel. This is an example. And they're sitting down at night when the kids are in bed, and at 9 o'clock, and they're scrolling till 12 o'clock at midnight. And the connection has been lost in their relationships or friendships. They're living everything through online, and that's toxic. That's very unhealthy. So it's about making those changes where you're not it's an addiction, isn't it? The phone. So the phone can be very powerful. I was obviously able to reach out with my Instagram support group, but there needs to be balance, and you need to make sure that we're connecting with people, and we're connecting with the world, and that we're reaching out.
Because there's a lot of joy in there if you look in the right places and you treat it the right way. Yeah. Especially in the guide. That feeling then of actually stepping into, you're going to be, I know you've got Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays online, you're going to be here on Thursday here in Charlesland, up in the Blue Zone and Eimear Coffey's. So was that something that you had sort of long thought about? Was it something that just happened to you? I don't know how this sort of came into being, that you moved from the Pink Room to the...
So I went and studied to become a life coach. I passed my exams and my practicals, and then I decided, right, I'm going to change my page over to Eimear Coffey Life Coach, and the reception I got was amazing. So I'm a people's person, Paul, and Niamh has created this fabulous community space called the Blue Zone, and it really ties in with my code of ethics, so to speak, the well-being, the looking after yourself, the prioritising yourself. So Niamh has offered me a space here on a Thursday morning. Obviously, I would like to grow that as the business grows. I'm only setting out I only launched in September. Right. So I do love having my online clients, but I do love looking somebody in the eye and doing face-to-face clients. So hopefully it will develop and grow.
And this Niamh character, she's very difficult to deal with. Did you find her all right? She can be very tough. Well, you grew up with her, so you'd know.
I mean, I grew up with her.
Yeah, so you'd know.
She's great, and we very much the same, values, and that always helps when you're working with somebody close, like your family member.
Magic. Well, we'll put the links up above, and obviously people get in touch with you. And as I said, you're here on Thursdays, you're online Monday, Tuesdays and Wednesdays. That'll expand, but people obviously can just keep in touch with you on social media.
Yeah, and I can work around. There is, I have one client at the moment who does evenings, no problem. I can work around it once we schedule it. You always work around the client and what works for their lifestyle. Cool. That's the whole idea. It's to support your client and their lifestyle.
Now, I've been doing the guide for every day for nearly 14 years, 7 days a week. Is there any way you could help me? Is there any way I can...